Rich, luscious, and moist, red velvet cake is a brightly hued sponge cake with decadent cream cheese icing.
Widely considered a Southern recipe, the cake dates back to the Depression era, but it was made popular in the 1940s and 50s, where it was served in tea rooms across North America, including that of Canada's iconic Eaton's department store.
And today, La Rocca Creative Cakes is carrying on the tradition, adding to it a little European flair.
President Michael Givens shares the meaning behind the family name.
The Rocca family goes back to Naples, Italy, more than 60 years. Rocca, loosely translated, also means the rock or the fortress in Italian.
How fitting, since the rock of their business is the red velvet cake, which is made right here in Richmond Hill, Ontario.
First order of business, making the cake.
80 kilograms of flour goes in first, followed by sugar and cocoa powder. Red velvet cake is actually devil's food cake with a touch of color, which means it has all that chocolatey goodness people love so much.
Hot on its heels, the mixing bowl wheels over to the mixer. And just look at that thing, it's a monster.
La Rocca makes 500,000 red velvet cakes every year, so a handheld mixer is out of the question.
Once the dry goods are incorporated, it's time for the wet ingredients. Oil is added first and quickly mixed.
Eggs and buttermilk are next. Buttermilk will give the cake its velvety texture. And finally, red food coloring gives it that bright red signature hue.
The cake batter is mixed for 40 minutes until nice and smooth.
Then it moves over to a pumping machine, which transfers the red batter to a hopper.
20-centimeter round cake pans line up below a depositor, which fills 24 tins every minute.
The pans are loaded onto a baker's tray, head to the oven.
They'll bake inside a carousel oven at 325 degrees Celsius for 60 minutes.
Hot off the press, the hot cakes are removed from the oven and taken out of their tins and left to cool before they head over to the production line.
And it's finally time to turn these babies into velvety cakes.
But it's no piece of cake. Every cake needs 3 layers, so they pass through a vibrating blade which slices each one into 2 pieces.
If you stack a year's worth of cakes on top of each other, it'll reach 41,000 feet. That's higher than most airplanes fly.
Sliced cakes receive a mist of simple syrup, which is essentially equal parts water and dissolved sugar.
Now for my favorite part, the cream cheese icing.
Oh, yeah.
This is the red velvet line. I'm the Iceman.
Ice, ice, baby. A dollop of homemade frosting is deposited onto each cake slice.
200,000 kilograms of cream cheese and 100,000 kilograms of butter are used every year to make the frosting.
Oh, no wonder it tastes so good.
Layer by layer, the sponge cake is hand-placed inside a metal cylinder to make sure each side is positioned perfectly.
It all has to come together in perfect harmony. You have to have the right balance of cream cheese, the right balance of sponge, and doing your layering.
Assembled cakes are placed onto trays and relocated to a freezer where they'll chill for 2 hours.
It goes through the blast freezer at a minus 40 degrees to help preserve the freshness and create a cake that we can decorate within 2.5 hours.
Once frozen, they head to a decorating line where a series of bakers are waiting to give each cake a finishing touch.
But first, more cream cheese frosting is deposited on top of each cake. This machine is a decorator's dream, turning to level the icing as it's deposited.
Then it's just a short cakewalk over to these ladies, who smooth the edges and give the icing a ribbed look.
Although it's a very simple cake, there's lots of little facets to the product that require, the hand touch, the human touch.
And that would be the icing on the cake. Cake crumbs left over from the baking and slicing process are placed by hand.
Next, the cake receives a series of markings.
We use a device that marks the cake just to make sure that everybody in the family gets the same size slice.
The markings also help the decorators apply 12 creamy, tasty rosettes.
Each frosty swirl is topped off with a red chocolate disc. 1.6 million red discs are used every year. Now that's a lot of cake slices. Finished cakes travel towards packaging and slide into boxes.
Boxes are closed and marked with a sticker. Palletized, and then ready for shipping.
Feel free to ship that pallet right over to my place.
It's your perfect birthday cake. You know, you have it, you cut it, you put it in your mouth, and it just brings smiles to your face.
It's hard not to smile when you're indulging in cake.
But there's no need to wait for your birthday. In Marie Antoinette's famous words, let them eat cake.